Good evening, everybody. Here is Marta. I'm the owner of Eqclusive and I am your podcast runner today. I'm really looking forward to my talk. I'm not really sure how it will go. I've not planned it. I just wrote out the questions that you guys have for me. So I'm hoping it will go well, and feel free to ask me any questions here. I'm just gonna check if I turned off my voice. I did. Okay. Right. So, hi Kelly. Hi Lorna. Thank you for joining. So, first of all, I thought the best thing to do would be if I start telling you guys about how I started the business and how did that happen. And then we can talk a little bit about the grooming, because that will lead quite well on from the business side of things, why I've started it. And happy to answer any questions. I have pre-submitted questions written here as well. But please feel free to write any questions during the talk. If I don't answer them straight away, I'll jot them down and answer them later in the talk. So, Eqclusive. Brand started 5 years ago in April 2015. How did that happen? I used to work in oil and gas industry in Aberdeen, was made redundant, lost my job due to oil prices, and very quickly realized I don't really want to work for anybody else ever again. It was a bit of heartbreaking moment for me. It was a lot of tears, a lot of hard moments, because I was really feeling like I've put all of myself into this job and I lost it. So even though, it was maybe other reasons there too. So I've decided then that I'm never gonna work for anybody ever again. And the idea of the grooming business I kind of had since I've moved to this country, which is 14 years ago now. And I've noticed how people groom horses here. I've noticed that a lot of people use plastic brushes. A lot of people have not been taught how to properly groom the horses. And some of them not understand the principles of grooming. So really then, I kind of in my head thought, one day I would like to really show them how to groom horses and really pass on the knowledge that I've been given by a lot of top German riders, trainers and groomsmen. So that's really when the idea started. So when I was made redundant, it kind of just came to me that why don't I just do this? Contacted the brands that I loved and used for years. Contacted Haas, who manufactures my packs. Contacted Buse, who I've used for all my grooming years. Contacted two other companies like Fifth, and the lady who actually was loaning me a horse, we were part loaning, sharing a horse, told me about Sleek Easy. And that is how I started selling Sleek Easy as well. So this was kind of my 4 core brands that I started with, and 3 of them I still sell and are main kind of part of my business still. And I think this is the reason behind it is that I really truly believe in those brands. I've been using them for years. I know their products inside out. Some of the products may be better than the manufacturers themselves because I use them every day. Some of the brushes I've used for over 23 years, and with this I really know how they work inside out. So this has been quite an interesting journey from that point of view, kind of learning that a lot of manufacturers don't even know what they are selling as well. So the business started in April 2015 in Aberdeen. Very small, of course, no sales for the first 3 months, just purely marketing. And then it kind of, after 3 months, it started making profits, and it was massive shocker, especially to all of those family members, friends that said that it will never work out. So it was great boost for me, because then it kind of told me, okay, you're doing something right. And that's when really from then on it made me realize even more that when you love something, it's gonna work for you. And here I'm sitting 5 years on. So the business sprang on. I started the process to patent my brushes the same year I started my business, and we are nearly at the end of the patenting process, which is amazing news, which will take the business to another level as well, I suppose. But I had a really good question, because I could tell you the whole story how the business grew from day to day. Kind of 2016, which is the first year in, around May time, so after just exactly a year, I was contacted by Charlotte, the manager, Abby, about brushes, and that's how I've met Alan. And really from then on the business just took over to another level. Alan has been an amazing business partner, an amazing ambassador for my business, but also an amazing friend. At the times where it was really hard, when people start copying my packs and his packs, and when there were times when you really just wanted to quit, he was always there for me, looking after me and keeping me going. So I suppose one of the most important things during your business time is to find somebody who will be very honest with you, who will tell you what to do, what not to do, who will tell you off for things that you are doing wrong or said wrong, and a person who will be there for you when you really need them, but you don't really want to ask for help. This is me. I never ask for help. So that was great as well. And Catherine Kirby actually posted a question on Instagram, which was really good, and I think a lot of people just now during the lockdown especially struggle with this. What inspired you to create the brand, and how do you stay motivated? And I think this is something that is extremely important when you own your own business, to get up every day and have the same motivation as you had the day when it was your best day ever, when it is the worst day of your life. And this is kind of the hardest part of owning your own business. You can't just go to work for 9 to 5, finish at 5, close the door and go home and forget what happened, because this is your own baby. And I suppose it really helps, first of all, when you love your business. So I'll tie a little bit with this question, that when you're creating a brand or creating a business that you want to start up, it's really important that you do something around something that you really love, that you are passionate about, and you know that even when everything goes wrong, you will still enjoy doing what this brand is representing. So for example, when I have a really bad day and everything is going wrong, all the customers are phoning with bad news, or something happened, or they have a bad day and they phone you to just rant, which happens as well, especially now during lockdown, because they are bored. What is important is to have that something that you can just go and do, which will help your business and at the same time keep you relaxed, motivated, and give you encouragement to do something else. So for me, it's grooming. And I suppose that's why I've stayed so happy, I've stayed so motivated, I've stayed open-minded, I am very open to criticism, I like to say what I think because I know I have the knowledge, And when things are going wrong, what I do is grab my brushes and go and groom my horses and do a video where at the same time I can pass on my knowledge to somebody. I can teach somebody something, even something little, how to use a Caricom or something small, but out of the negative side of things I can make something positive. And I suppose that's what kept me going for all those 5 years during the worst days, and there were some bad days, to really just stay focused, motivated, and keep going. So what inspired you to create the brand was the love for grooming and the passion that I have for grooming. My sister always was the better rider, the one better on horses, and I always preferred to groom horses and make them look shiny, and I suppose that is the difference, and that's what made me so happy in my own business, because it really drives me forward. And how do I stay motivated? Try to make every negative thing into a positive thing, learn from every negative, learn from every mistake, and turn it into a positive as well. And I really believe that everything happens for a reason. So if something bad happens, it's meant to be to teach me something or to show me that something wasn't strong enough. So example, relationships with people or relationships with other businesses, or sponsored riders, ambassadors, whoever, whatever it is. I just always sit down and think, what did it taught me? What did I learn from it? You are more than welcome to ask me any questions. I don't want to just talk at you. So if you are watching and you have any questions for me, just ask me anything. Another question that I had about the business kind of side of things from Lucy Fox Dressage. One of them, what made you start a grooming based company? I think I've kind of answered that already. The other one was, what are the plans for the future? So this is quite important as well, and beginning of the year I always sit down with myself and make a plan of what I really would like to achieve this year. So this year I really wanted to build a brand around people that I really love. I wanted to have more time for myself. I wanted to also find finally my own cosmetics, which are coming out soon, and make few projects with Alan, and we have already 3 ongoing. So this is kind of what my plans were for this year. With the coronavirus, it has affected the business, but also it showed me what is the most important as well, which is great, because sometimes I think you just need to stop and rethink your own values, your own life, and with this, your own business, how things work, what you can improve. You know, I also run not only the business, I also run some online auctions, and with those, you know, how I can improve those. So I've been doing this as well. But really the plans for the future is building my own cosmetics, 3 new projects with Alan, which are already ongoing, and hopefully just keep going with my own business and making sure that it's growing worldwide with the brushes, with the brush packs, as they are going into a final stage of patenting, so that will be great too. I'm gonna now answer some questions about grooming, but I feel a bit like nobody's asking any questions. I don't know if I cannot see maybe comments, if it is possible that I don't. So, because I didn't see any on my other live video. If I can't, I'll do another video maybe after and answer all your questions, just in case I can't see any comments. If anybody has my number, if you could WhatsApp me if I can't see comments, that would be good. Anyway, another question that was really good now about grooming, because I think the main part of this video is for everybody to get some grooming tips and hopefully for me to pass some knowledge that I have. So one of the questions I got was from a lady called Helen Hill, and it was about sweatage. So her horse has a sweatage and it's super scruffy even after the bath. Thank you, Raphael, for dropping the messages. That will be great. Favorite brush. I'll write this down. This is really important. So this is one of the reasons why I really started this business. In this country, due to the changing weather, the horses are super prone to have clogged up pores, and this is something that is super important when you are grooming horses. So think about this. First of all, the most important to make a horse shiny is of course feeding. If you don't feed them well, or they are malnourished, or they don't have enough vitamins, you can groom them to death, they will never be shiny. Next one, if you don't work them properly, or they are out of work, it's fine. But if you work them not properly, there will be muscle dysfunctions and they will sweat in the wrong places, and that will also affect the shine. The third thing to make them shiny, of course, it's daily grooming. Now I'll talk about the grooming routines and stuff like that as well. But first I want to talk about pores to answer this question, and few of them that really tie into it. I just got messages saying that the comments are not showing. So if you could, anybody could drop me a message with all the comments with the questions, then that will be great. So I have a favorite brush and cloth wash. Thank you, Raphael, for sending. So the pores in this country, they clog up very quickly due to the change of the weather. So think about it. Even few days ago there was at 0 degrees, and then through the next day was 17 degrees. In other countries it doesn't happen that much, especially in Europe. And with this, horses are prone to sweat a lot through the day. So then there is a lot of sweat that combines with dirt and dust when it's dry. And then at night when it's wet, the sweat is either washed off on it, or it combines with the sweat and the dirt, and it stays right by the skin as proper scurf. The thing that you guys see like a dander on a coat. And that thing really clogs up the pores, and then it stops the horses keep themselves warm or cold. It depends. If they are cold, they produce more oil to heat up their coat, to create that blanket to really keep the heat around their skin. Also the hairs are helping with that as well. And then if they are warm, they produce sweat through the pores to cool themselves down. If the pores are clogged, there's a lot of skin conditions that happen, like sweatage, like lumps and bumps on the coat, like very itchy horses that go and scratch on everything because it just itches them. Imagine you go and put moisturizer on and then go to a really dusty place. You can really feel it on your own skin, the dirt, and that's how they feel. So with my brushes, how they work, they really clean not only the coat, they clean right by the skin. And this is the thing, this is the most important part of the grooming, and it's usually the first 2 or 3 brushes in my packs that clean right by the skin. So yes, you need to feed them well, yes, you need to work them well, but if you don't groom them well, then those things that you are feeding them, the work you are putting in, it won't be showing on a coat. So this is the reason why it is so important. So when there is a lot of scurf, when the sweatage occurs, to me straight away it says that the horse needs more grooming regime. The lady said that even when she baths him loads, the scurf is there, and this is one of the biggest mistakes that people make. When you bath the horse, you actually strip them from natural oils, not always cleaning the pores, so it's like a little bomb within them, because what happens is they want to put all that oil into the coat and they can't because the pores are clogged up. So it's very important that bathing is not the most important part of the day. The most important part should be grooming, and that's, I suppose, something that me and Alan really agree on, because Alan grooms the horses 3 times a day. I groom mine twice a day, and I believe that, you know, if you groom them twice a day, before and after working, or before they go out to the field and after they come back, you can really check on their health, you can check on their skin, you can really help with their oil management, with the on-coat, with how they feel, if they are itchy. If they are not itchy, they're going to be much more happy with themselves. So those are the parts. So when you have the scurfy coat, the most important thing is to groom them. And in our packs, the most important brush for taking the scurf out is a brush called Le Pisane. And that brush is really, really dense. And that is the most important thing about the brushes. The density of them and the type of hair that is used in the brush. So when the brush is really, really dense, what happens, and it's made of the same type of hair that your horse have, it creates friction with your horse's coat and goes underneath the coat. And this is what is important for the grooming, because it makes sure that the skin is clean, the pores are cleaned, and all the dirt right by the skin is picked up, so the pores don't get clogged up straight after grooming. So what I would suggest for scurfy coat is to groom with this brush as much as you can. Use natural oils to help the coat to come back to its natural shape. When it's scurfy, it will be dry because the dirt will be sitting right on the top of the coat all the time, so the oils are not going into the coat. If you want to, it's like with your own hair, when they are dry, you need to moisturize it for a little bit, for a week. I always say, add a bit of oil into the coat, onto the skin, to really make it more oily, because then the skin itself will start producing more oil. And when you have a clean pores, those oils will come to the coat and very quickly they will sort themselves. I've had in my 5 years 3 people that during the show, I would say exactly the same what I've told you just now, guys, and they would say, I'm not paying £32 for a brush because I don't believe it worked. The vets didn't help, this and that didn't help. And I would give them the brush, take their number, and I say, please call me in 2 weeks and let me know if that brush helped or not. And a lot of people, especially some of my employees, thought that I'm absolutely mental giving random people brushes. But I did that because I knew it will work. And this is something that's when you believe in your own product and you know it inside inside out. I'm just writing what kind of oil. When you know your product inside out, then you will know that it will work. So if you believe in your product, if you believe in your brand, if you believe in what you are doing, if you've used it for a long time, you would know it will work. And all of those customers and my best customers for the past few years, they stand up for me everywhere on all the groups and everything, and it's just very adorable because I was able just to explain to them how it works. They didn't believe me, so I gave them the brush and it changed their horse's life. So what I use when I was a professional groom, and there was hardly any cosmetics then, we had Leovet and Absorbin only 20 years ago in Poland. Sorry, I need to have a drink. What I used was a natural coconut oil or linseed oil, something that is pure. Don't use anything that has silk in it, don't use anything that has any chemicals in it. So we have a spray called High Shine from You and Your Horse, and this is based on coconut oil, so the purest oil you can have, I suppose. And this smells amazing as well. I use it on my own hair. I can't see, Raphael, what you said, too long. And this spray really works very well on the coat. So you use it as a mane and tail detangler, mane and tail conditioner, and coat conditioner. So when somebody comes to me like Helen did with sweated scarf, I would say buy this brush and buy this, and use the brush and this once a day for as long as you can. So brush as long as you can, because you will see a lot will come out, and then use the spray after and just leave it in. You don't need to put it in anywhere or anything, just leave it on a coat. And this spray creates that oil. It moisturizes the skin, it moisturizes the coat, so it really helps the horse to start producing their own oil. The brush cleans the pores, so next day you will see the scarf will be kind of gone and you'll be, oh, you don't need to brush, but you really need to do it for a week. And the reason for this, because when the weather will change, even a small fluctuation of the temperature, you will see that the scarf will come back. And that's why I always say to everybody, use it for a week and then let me know. It's the same with our packs of brushes, why I say we offer money back guarantee, but you need to use them for a whole week. Because some people, they don't groom with enough strength, so to see the results properly, you really need to use the brushes for a week. So this kind of question is answered. I would not bath, I would just brush and moisturize it. You can use natural oil, you don't need to buy this spray if you don't want to. You can use natural oil. It's a bit harder when you use it because you need to put it in your own hands and then put it into the coat. You might find yourself using quite a lot of oil. With that spray, it's just much simpler because it's coconut oil with a bit of alcohol just to make it liquid. So the next, what kind of oil, that kind of answered. Follow-up question from this was a lady called Maxine B, who said, my boy has half his mane missing after winter. Any tips how to encourage to grow it back would be appreciated. So this is exactly the same problem. So even the problem is that a lot of people groom their horses' manes and tails with a normal brush like we use for our own hair. And with this, you don't groom right by the skin, you just brush the ends of the hair. The scarf and all the oils also need to come to the mane and tail to keep the mane and tail moisturized, to keep mane and tail growing. If you don't clean right by the skin there, the horse is getting very itchy and the mane and tail fall out, the hair fall out, and it looks like, you know, you are losing a lot of hair. So what is the best thing is, you can use also the same brush called the Pisaner on the mane and tail, and you use it first on the mane. If you imagine this is a mane, in this direction down first, and then you turn around the brush that way to really pull it out all the dirt. We also have a special mane and tail brush, which is here. So this mane and tail brush looks like a dandy brush, but it's not like dandy brush. It's much softer, and also it really works on hair. As you can see, it really pulls the hair. With this, it cleans the hair. It cleans the hair from all the mud, but also it cleans the skin. So you use it. There's a video on how on YouTube as well. If you go to Eqclusive and subscribe, there's lots of videos that I've actually done recently. You use it in this direction, the same as the lip on a brush. You would use down, and then you turn it around and pull all the dirt out. And with that, you clean the pores, you clean the skin. You will see a lot coming out. You would need to use it for a good couple of minutes when your horse is very scurfy. Those brushes cost only £7, and really they are a lifesaver. And again, we have a dry mane and tail pack, which you use together with this spray. We have this spray also in a double concentration, which for really bad cases you can use that. If there is a problem with the problem is consistent and you think the bacteria got there, I hardly recommend using something like Sharpie's MTG, which not only stops the horse's itching, because it really it kills the skin surface, but it kills the bacteria as well, and it helps the skin to regenerate and start building the hair. So this is another thing you can use. Also, don't wash, don't bath, just groom and use moisturizers and really clear. If you don't have a brush, you can use your own nails to really scratch manes and tails, because the circulation, the natural feeds, the natural oils with the circulation will come to the coat. And that really leads on to the next question, which was asked on Instagram by Glamicorn. Do you have an everyday grooming routine versus a short routine? So I have a daily grooming routine for each of my horse. I'm a bit of a checklist freak, and I suppose that's another thing on operations, other things. When you don't know what makes your day successful, write down when that day goes really well. What did you do that day? What made it successful? And try to recreate it every day. Imagine creating a checklist that replicates your best day at work, your best day in business, and just doing it every day. So that is something. Oh, now I see Raphael's comment. So I don't know why I can only see Raphael's comments. This is something about your business as well, and I have grooming routines for all my horses. So the grooming routine for all my horses is they get fed, then we usually do a bit of stable work so they can eat in peace, and then they start either being ridden or they go out to the field. And the grooming routine is always the same. It doesn't matter if they go out to the field or not. That we groom them, we check their hooves, we check their legs by grooming them and by cleaning their hooves with a hoof pick, and then putting all the rags on and everything. We brush mane and tail idea as well. And this is something that really keeps you going, because if you see that there's more scarf coming out than the other day, we'll be like, there's something wrong. And this is why me and Alan are quite freaks about grooming, because it's like with yourself. If your skin is changing, you would straight away think, this must be something wrong. I might be getting ill, my skin is dry, why do my eyes water? And it's the same with grooming. If you groom your horse every day in the same way, you will notice the differences. If you groom them in a different way every day, and you won't be able to notice the differences so much. And I suppose this is so important in a show grooming, but also in your own horses. I've been very lucky, and I'm gonna touch wood. In the last 3 years, I've only had vet out once, and I really believe it's due to same routine with horses, feeding them similar things all the time, or keeping the same feed and the same energy levels. If they need more feed, you adjust. Giving them vitamins, and really just ensuring that they are groomed twice a day. And then after riding, they usually are turned out, or they turned out first thing in the morning, depends if they have a day off or not. We change their boots, so again you can check the temperature of the legs after riding. You can see any differences in hooves and stuff like that, so that's why I always change the boots as well, because it lets you see the differences. And then turn them out, and when they come back, they each have a half an hour groom, like a long groom in the evening, to really check their bodies and stuff like that. So this is my grooming day routine. The show routine is a bit different. So the day before the show, I would usually give them a really good long groom. For me, a long groom is 15 minutes because I'm quite fast. I would use a lot of conditioning sprays. So for me, this is used daily on mane and tail and a coat. But for me, the show one is the double concentration one, which is the high glossy, which I will put all over the coat, on the face, using the Diva brush that is in our packs as well, which is the super soft brush. And so you can spray it directly on the brush and put it wherever you want. And wash the legs, so they are ready for the show, and wash their hooves properly, and oil them and stuff like that. So this will be my show routine. And then the day of the actual show, I usually get up really early, because I'm quite a nervous rider when it comes to the competitions. I would go feed them and try to keep their routine first thing in the day similar. So I would feed them and give them a good half an hour to eat their breakfast, and then hay them, because the other ones would be staying in until I prepare the other one, because I only have 3 horses. And then take the other one out. Usually coat loss isn't recommended under the saddle, you're different, okay? I'll explain this in a second. And then start putting mine on lines and start grooming him first very well, and then I start plaiting. While I plait, I will also spray the high glossy all over the coat, so it really soaks in. Plait the horse using a plaiting spray. I use the Netex plaiting spray. I cannot use thread, so I use just the rubber bands. Alan tried to teach me once. No, hopefully one day I will learn. And then once I plait them, I usually put the boots on, because I usually go by myself to the shows. So I'll put the boots on, put the tail bandage on, and then just get myself ready and go. When I go to the show, I usually use Mr. Flicky from the Allen pack. I'll show you. And I'll apply the quarter marks at the show. So this is Alan Davis bag. It comes in this beautiful velvet bag with his logo. And this is Mr. Flicky. So this is a really soft flicky brush. And this what I would use when we get to the show, because it will take out all the hay and all the kind of dust that the horses got on a journey there. And then I would use the quarter marking brush or the cord gloss from our pack to do quarter marks and to do a final cord gloss kind of thing all over the coat. And at the actual show I use Silver Star, which is the same as the high glossy, and it has sparkles in it, so it really gives that extra shine to any color of the horse. You can use it on mane and tail. And now I'm going to answer your question, Helen. You can also use it under the saddle because it is natural. It doesn't have silk. If you spray it and wait 1 minute, it will go into the coat and it will not make your saddle slippery. If you use something with silk or with things that are actually synthetic, chemically done, that will make your saddle slip. But if it's something that is moisturizing and you wait a minute, it is like putting a moisturizer on your own skin. You would feel it on your skin, but it won't make your clothes slip on your skin, if that makes sense. So this is exactly the same. Oh, thank you, Maxine. This is my day grooming routine versus the show routine. One thing that I forgot to bring, it's a Netex Quick Gloss hoof spray, and I love this stuff because I actually use this spray before I go to the show. Shavings don't stick to it, hay doesn't stick to it, so you can spray it before going to the trailer, and the hooves will really shine even during the show. Alan uses that as well, and as you can see at Charlotte's and Carl's photos, they always look amazing, so I highly recommend that as well, especially if you go to the shows yourself. If you don't, and you can put all the things on the hooves. When I go with a stallion, unfortunately there is no way that I could put any hoof on, because he is so interested in mares and all the other horses that there's no way I could touch his hoof. So that hopefully Glamicron from Instagram, that answered the question. Favorite brush. Okay, so this is for a lot of people very hard question, but for me it's very easy. It's the Lipizzaner brush, and there is a brush called Princelli, which I have very fond memories of. It's a leather backed brush, and it was designed for the Queen, and it's royal blue color at the back. It's really expensive, it's like £40, and it's made of the same hair as the cord gloss brush, and it is just beautiful, absolutely stunning. And it's leather backed, so you can use it even when you have wet hands or whatever, where you sweat, so it's great, it doesn't slip. So this is my favorite brushes. Cloth washing. So I'm not sure, I didn't really read the message because it didn't show it completely. I'm so sorry, but I couldn't see your comment. Raphael kindly sent it to me on WhatsApp. I do use hot clothing, and we used to strip using brushes like that as well. I still strip my horses once a month. I really believe in this. To build the muscles, you need to relax them, you need to help them. I also use chiropractors. Hot cloth oiling, it's really good for bringing up the shine, for opening the pores, but for it to really work, you need to have the clean pores. So yes, you can use hot clothing, but the best thing to do is to have clean pores. So use a brush first and then use hot clothing. I do use hot clothing after I clip my horses as well, but I first brush them as well, so you don't put oil and dirt into their pores. So it really is just, if you think about it, sometimes it's really just common sense. But when it comes to horses, we just think, oh, just put that on and it will be fine. but you wouldn't put a moisturizer on yourself if you were covered in dust. And it's exactly the same problem with horses. Just think of them and their skin first before you do anything else, before you put any spray, before you put any oil or anything else. And I promise you, if you start thinking like that, you will save yourself a lot of vet bills. Another question that we had was what would be the ideal grooming routine for a horse? So I would say that really depends on a horse itself. Some horses require a bit more attention and some less. So I'll give you an example of two bay horses I have. One is Ruby, which some of you might, if you follow me on Eqclusive, you will see yesterday it was his birthday and it was a 3-year anniversary since I bought him. And this horse shines all the time. And he didn't when I first bought him. And he is one of those that you start grooming him and he licks you. And you really just enjoy the whole situation and the whole idea and the whole time that you spend with him, because it's so bonding and so relaxing, not only for him but also for you. But there is another horse that I have, ex 4-star eventer, who had an awful life, and then he was bought by guys that were doing eventing when he was 5. He was raised since he was 2, then he was show jumped using metal bars and stuff like that. And then those sponsored riders of mine in Poland bought him and event him and really gave him a good life. But it was a hard life, you know. He still needed to go and do the 4-star eventing, and he went to European Championships. And this horse, he just wants you to groom him in 2 minutes and just move on and just, what are we doing next? And this is something that you need to strike the balance with the horses. With him, he prefers to be groomed when he eats, for example, so you need to find a routine that really works for your horse as well. Some horses prefer to be occupied in mind when you groom them, because for them, when they're groomed, for example, it means they're going to go out in a second, something is going to happen, they're going to be ridden, they're going to be raised, they're going to, this and this is going to happen. And when you groom them, the only thing they can think of is what's going to happen next. If you start thinking of when this horse enjoys to be groomed most, so with that horse is when he eats, because he is only thinking about the food and he actually likes grooming, then when he finishes eating, he starts grooming me back because he's like, oh, I actually enjoy this. So this is something that you really need to find your own way with horses. If you don't know how to find it, do a video a few times of when you groom a horse. I'm more than happy to give you my comments and send it to me. I'll be more than happy to tell you what to do or how to do it. Some horses prefer to be on ties than in their own stables, because in their own stables is their own space. It's just the same like with people. Some people like to have guests in all the time. Some people hate even the idea of having anybody in their house. It's the same for them. So try to find those quirks and those times when you are like, today he actually enjoyed it. Write it down, like with your own business or your own work. What works? When it works, try to repeat it and repeat it until it becomes a routine. So that's something that I would really tell you to do, guys. It's just really listen to yourself and don't read too many things. Just listen, look, write down what works. You know, when I start, any horse comes to me, I start a book, like a notepad. And I write down how they behaved on the day, if they enjoyed the groom, where did I groom them, how I groomed them, when I fed them. And from that you really can very quickly extract information when it works. So I, for example, in red I wrote things that didn't work, and in green I wrote down things that did work. So try to think of easiest way to make your life easier, to make your horse enjoy the time that you spend with him more. Some of them are extroverts like us too, so really it's just finding those times and spots that will make your bonding and your time together more sweet. So grooming routine, it's always brushing, checking legs, hooves. If you brush properly, you will be able to check the whole body. Do it if you can in a routine way, so you do the same way every time, so you can really check for differences, and find the time, like I said, that both of you would enjoy it. I hope I've answered this question. The other question that was asked just here was if we can use the hoof spray after the put on the black paint. Yes, you can, and it doesn't dissolve the paint, so you're more than welcome to use the hoof spray from Netix on top of that as well. It's really good. I really recommend it. I also had a question from a lady who is trying to start her own business. She wrote a book for children about horses. It's an illustrated book, and I'll put a comment later on with her page. And she really asked me a question, how to start putting out your business out there. So I've checked her following. She has around 150 people following her on Facebook. So first of all is to find your selling point, I suppose, or something that you know is the most important about the product that you have. And I think it works the same with when you are trying to get a sponsorship. We get, for example, I get every day 30 emails about that people that want to be sponsored by us, want to be ambassadors, would like to receive something for free, just to do a review. And all of them are very similar. And when you get a completely different message, or a message that gives you a feeling, or a message that you can relate to, or a message that you can really see that somebody thought about it instead of just writing what everybody is writing. I have that and that many followers, that many start following me every day, or I've done this and this. And you don't get to know the person from that message unless you really go and start digging. So imagine being in my position. There was a question about whether to use Caricom before you brush. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Raphael. And it's really important, and it is with your own business, as a person, I think in everyday life, even if when you go on a date, is to find that unique point about you and love it, about your brand, about yourself, about what you are selling, about the product that you have, and just keep going about it. And that's really it. When I started the businesses, I remember it like it was yesterday. I was posting all those before and after pictures in every group that I could, and people were like, oh, she just washed that horse and she's thinking she's gonna use this marketing gimmick to sell some brushes. And I replied to every of those questions or every of those negative comments in a way like I would tell you now. You are more than welcome to try those brushes, and if you're not happy, you can send them back and I'll refund you the money, even if you use them for 2 weeks. And a lot of people were like, what is she talking about? How is she going to build a business? She just started and she has already want to give out things for free if they don't work. If you believe in something so much, people will start believing in you as well. And this is very important. So with your book, Helena, what I would do, I would find that unique point. I would find why is it different than any other book on the market. I would And that's what I would tell everybody as much as I can. I will go and read it in schools. I would go to writing schools and ask people to read it and pass it on to another person and give it back to you. Have one example, one book that you pass on to people so they can read and pass on to other people, because next time they are buying a gift for their cousin's daughter or whatever, they will think about your book. So think a bit outside of the box. Think what is your target audience and what is your unique point, and just go for it and look out for the opportunities in everything you do. Whatever you do, if you do it all the time and regularly, like with my checklist, I know I'm a bit boring like that, it will come back to you and it will work, because people will be like, I've seen the same thing, different photos for the past month. How come? It must be working. So it's the same with your book. Find those unique points about your book and keep going about it. Raphael just said there was a question about whether to use the Caricom before you use your packs every day. Yes. So this is the reason why we sell the packs together with a Caricom. The Caricom that we have, it's different to most of the Caricoms that there are on the market. This Caricom, it's really hard on the back, like super hard, but inside it's very soft and pliable. What that means that when you put the pressure on anything, it really moves with the coat and right on the skin, and it picks up all the dirt and dander right by the skin. It helps with circulation, it massages the skin, and it really makes the coat softer, picks up all the mud, and ensures that you bring all those natural oils by picking up the circulation in your horse's coat. So yes, use them first, and also use the Caricoms to clean the brushes. Don't do it like that. Always Caricom lying down and a brush on top, so all the dirt stays in the Caricom. Never do it that way because you never clean the brush. Always Caricom lying flat and the brush on top of it. So this is another tip for you guys. I think I'm finished with the questions that I have. I'm gonna give you a couple of minutes to see if there is any question here. Any question that I can ask, or maybe if Raphael can copy and paste the questions she sent me on WhatsApp, because I cannot see them. I feel like I've talked for ages. What's different about the diamond brushes? So the diamond brushes from Haas, how different brushes. There were a couple of questions at the beginning. Yeah, I know. If you could, somebody could send them to me. So I'm gonna write them down. Because now the comments are showing. I'm not sure what's happened. Just writing them down, guys. What did you think was the best investment of your money in the first 12 months? Well, good question. List of brushes, starter packs. I think it's better if I do this for somebody specifically. Yeah, I have that one. I have this one too. Okay, right. So I have them all, I think, now. And I think after I answer them, you would be having enough of me. Right, so how did I come across the different packs? So this question is asked quite a lot, and I've done a lot of videos about this, but I think until you see how those brushes work, you kind of won't get how they work. You would really need to see them, and I'll show you this now, because I took all the packs here just to show you. Linda, for the things that you forgot how they go, please just PM me on Eqclusive. We'll be able to help you there. Right, so this is two brushes. The first two brushes, one is from this one is from the chestnut pack, and this is from the bay pack. And I suppose this is the easiest way to explain, my packs. So if you think of a chestnut horse, they are super soft coated, and most of them are extremely sensitive. The reason for that is their coat is very soft, therefore anything that goes on their coat, actually straight away they feel on their skin. There's no protection at all. With bay horses, they have more coarser coat. They produce much more oil than the chestnut horses to protect themselves from the sun beams, and to produce more sweat because they get hotter much quicker. And with that, they don't feel as much everything around them, so they are less sensitive. Don't get me wrong, they are bay horses that are sensitive, but this is due to their scurf and not being groomed properly, and that's something I've already talked about, so you can always go back to the beginning of the video. So with the chestnut horses, the horsehair used in this brush come together with plastic bristles is actually very soft, but it's extremely dense. If you look into the brush, it has a lot of hair, lots of hair. For the bay horses, the same brush, they are both the same brushes for removing dust from the coat. This one, it is less denser, it has less hair, but the hair is coarser. And with this, and this is the whole idea and invention behind my packs, is that the brushes that are in packs, they create friction with your horse's coat. So they not only work on the top of the coat like plastic brushes, or like the lady asked about diamond brushes, they create friction with your horse's coat, and go into their coat right to the skin, and they clean right by the skin, removing dust and dirt from chestnut horses using really soft bristles but extremely dense, or using coarse bristles to create that friction and go underneath the coat and clean the dust underneath the coat. And this is the whole kind of idea behind my pack. So each brush in the pack has its own job, and this is why they are so different, and this is why they work, and this is why I can offer money back guarantee, and that's why I believe in them so much, because it took me 2 years of grooming horses and writing down. As you can see, even when I was a teenager, I was a mental case and writing everything down. Always loved diaries. Whatever kind of happens in my life, people buy me diaries or books for writing things down. So when I started the business, I got like a business diary. So this is really funny, but yeah, I'm that kind of person. I love to write things down and go back to my previous thoughts. So I've noticed that this brush worked the best on a chestnut. I had the most awful chestnut when I was a groom, and that horse taught me a lot about chestnut horses. Anybody who comes, I'll answer this question, how to clean their brushes later. Anybody who comes to me with anything that the chestnut horse do, I actually had that with that horse. He was awful. But, oh, thank you, Vicky. But it was, he was one of the horses that really gave me that drive to find the best brushes for him. It was so hard to make him shiny. He was like a little tank. He was mental. He was winning in Europe all the highest competitions and everything. He was so driven, this horse, but to groom him was awful. So he was one of the horses that really sparked me to start looking for the right brushes, because he was always dusty. It doesn't matter how hard you groomed, how long you groomed. And all those trainers from Germany were coming, they were like, bloody learn to groom. Those horses are disgusting. And I was like, oh my god, I've just spent an hour grooming this horse. And then Ryder, I was grooming for, she wasn't really nice. And she was going with her white nails against the coat, and if she saw anything on her nails, she would not ride the horses. So I needed to find a way. And then with the bay, the dust, of course, it's always sitting there. So this brush removes the dust. The lip is on it that I showed you earlier on and explained how it picks up the scurf, will pick up the scurf. In the bay horses, you need 2 brushes to clean underneath the coat. That's why this pack has 5 brushes. How do you clean the brushes? So you get Caricom with your pack. You can also buy it separately on our website, and you clean the brushes against the Caricom. The most important thing is, when you groom the horses, if you want to achieve quick results, is to, with each stroke on a horse, clean your brush on a Caricom. So you kind of do this, and you go, and you go, and you move along, and you clean all the time. After a couple, when you see that the Caricom is getting dirty, clean it on the floor, and keep going. But this is so important if you want to quickly brush your horse from the biggest dirt, is to clean your brush on a Caricom, so that brush can then be clean and pick up the dirt from another spot. If you don't clean it and you just keep going, you just move the dirt, and the brush can't really pick up the dirt because it's dirty by itself. So with this Caricom, I wash my brushes twice a year, and really it is so important just to clean them like that, and you will really see a difference. Crystal lost her winter coat. Okay. Use for Palomino. You need to tell me if your Palomino is sensitive to brush or not, because this is important, Caroline. So this is the difference between packs and why they work. The diamond brushes that we have, they are completely different. So this is Haas putting the brushes together. And those brushes are they've created them for any types of coats. I don't see how they work, because they not really are made for specific coats, but there are some people who had some great results with them. They have some plastic brushes in them and just a couple of horsehair brushes, and they don't have different density, and I'm not sure how they would work. Any brushes and packs that you would use at certain times of the year? No. All the brushes you can use If the coat is clipped, if the coat is not clipped and it's super long, you can use it all year round. It doesn't matter what is the weather conditions. I have my pack 23 years and I used to groom 10 horses a day. So really, it doesn't matter what is the weather, how the horses look, how bad they look. You use the same brushes every day. Next question was about static electricity. Oh, love this question. So, you are extremely lucky because, first of all, you can self-heal yourself. You should read about this. Anyway, this is something else, but static electricity, it means that you actually have a lot of electric going through your neurons and in your own circulation. What to do? So when you groom a horse, especially with plastic brushes, you create static. You won't see that much. Oh, you can't see here. So you would create static. What happens with that when you create static and you're already quite electrified yourself? That static will go mental. So that's when you get electric shocks. The most important thing is to use gloves. Don't either rubber gloves or gloves that have rubber underneath. So buy like a cheapy gloves, or cotton gloves will stop this going through. I have couple for like a £1 or £2. So if you want to PM me after, happy to send you those. That is the best way to do it. And you shouldn't be angry about it. You should actually be really happy because your body will heal itself much quicker. Read about this. Best way to clean scruffy tail. I think we've already talked about it. 2 brushes, mane and tail brush, and a Pliable brush from our pack. If you want to scroll to the earlier of this video, I've explained how to remove scruff and what to do with scruffy coats. It was one of the first questions I've answered after I talked about my business. I'm sorry if I bore you and you need to watch it again. Hate. Somebody else asked the question. Sorry, I didn't write the names because I don't have space on my piece of paper. Another question was, a horse hates their mane being pulled. My Ruby Ribs does too. What to do? So, to Alan's disgrace and to everybody's else disgrace, I sell thinning scissors and I use thinning scissors. I'm actually, with this question, you've inspired me. I will do a video how to do what to do. So you can use thinning scissors. The most important thing about the mane when you are using yeah, you really need to. It is. I do self-healing all the time. You just need to know about your pressure points. It's really easy. I heal horses too. You just really need to learn about it or meet a very good person who is a good chiropractor. They will teach you. My best friend Tanu is one. She helped me so much with Ruby when he was really ill, and she taught me a lot. So you should do that. But Linda, if that was you asking this question, I will do the video. So there is a scissoring scissors that are thinning. The most important with them is to start at the end of the mane, because that way you're not gonna make it too thin. If you go right to the top and start cutting there, you will make this mane look awful. So use thinning scissors, but start at the end of the mane, and then you will see that how much hair you've already kind of taken out, and then go right to the top. It doesn't take that long after you've done it a few times. If you've not done it before, it will take you good half an hour, but better than having an awful mane. So good luck with that, and I'll try to do a video for you. But I love this. Thank you. You see, this is something, I love things like that. You always learn something from somebody else. You do those things and you don't even think that somebody else can have this problem. So thank you for this. Next one. What to do when horse rub their mane? Better to have the rag on or not? So, if you're gonna have time to groom them, oh, thank you. If you have time to groom them twice a day and they need the rag because of the weather, please put the rag on, because you're gonna lose all their condition. They're gonna try to have more oil into their coat because they will be cold, and they will start rubbing even more. So yes, if they need the rag because of the weather, you need to put the rag on. However, it means you need to groom them. As I've explained before, it's all about their scurf, all about the pores. So if you want to make sure that their mane and tail, or they get wrapped on their shoulders, and you want the hair to start growing again, you need to groom it. Even though you think your horse is sore or whatever, groom it, because that will help with the circulation. It will bring the natural oils, and the skin will heal itself. If it's really broken, ask your vet what to use. I usually just use a like sterilizer spray. Like I use actually the Steri7, because if you dilute it, you can use it on horse's coat. There is a shampoo from Steri7 which you can use as well, and it's really gentle, but it kills everything. So if there is anything, it's to groom, feed, and rag if you need to. So if the weather is bad and your horse needs a rag, you need to put the rag on. If you don't rag them, they're going to produce more oil, and if you not groom them, the pores will just go into overload, and they will be even more itchy, and they'll scratch more. So you're going to be doing the opposite. So it's grooming. And if you could ask somebody to groom them before they turn them out and put their rag on, pay them. It will be worth it. It will save you money in vet bills, I promise you. Another question, I hope I've answered this. If not, PM me. More than happy to help you, also to do a video for you. I've done this before for customers. Another question, what was the best investment in the first 12 months of the business? This is a really hard question. The best investment, yeah, you should groom over hairless patches, yeah. The best investment in the first 12 months of the business, I think, was my SLR camera. So I think having good photographs is really a key to your marketing. So if you have limited budget, so I had no job, I lost my job, lived with a person who really didn't believe that much in the business. So you really are kind of, you want to live on a budget, and you don't want to put too much in just in case it doesn't work, because it's possible. They say if a business survives 3 years and it's still on profit, it means that you're going to keep it going. But those 3 years will teach you a lot, I promise you. So in the 12 months, it's the most important at the moment, it's marketing. So I would say it's photos and your own time. You are to make your business really stand out and really work. You really need to invest your time. You need to be available for customers at any time of the day. You need to be for your business like for the baby that is just born. You need to be there all the time. Whenever you get an email with a complaint, don't put it away, reply straight away, or phone, even better. Always be proactive. Always ask people questions, always ask people for help, always ask people what they would do if they were in your position. Find ways that are cheap and will get you in front of a lot of people. So when I started the business, I went to local shows. I just phoned them and said, would you mind if I bring a table with my new invention, my brushes, and they're like, oh my god, who is she, mental case? And just keep going, and whenever they look at you, just smile and answer everybody's question with a biggest smile on your face, even though you know they're not gonna buy a thing from you, because in few years later they will remember you and they will buy from you then. Just really be the best version of yourself all the time, smiling, and keep your customers priority. Whoever it is, whoever speaks to you, think about it as a potential customer or a person who will recommend you to somebody else. And really this works at any time with your business. If you are 5 years in, 10 years in, a lot of people become quite static with their businesses, and I think that's when they lose the touch, when other things become more important, or they just don't love it anymore so much. And I think a lot of people don't realize those things, and they don't see that they need to just stop and move on. So I would say this is the most important, the first 12 months. Your own time, you really need to dedicate it 1000%, not just 100, 1000%, and invest in a good camera. It can be a phone nowadays, but 5 years ago it needed to be a camera. I think I've answered all the questions, guys. Oh, Nicholas is so inspiring. I've had business for 8 years, and you're right, you can get complacent. Yeah, you know, everybody has bad days, and I feel like just now it's actually the worst time. And I don't know, Nicola, if you feel the same, but with the lockdown I feel like people feel like they can take more negativity out on you, and it's been quite hard to stay positive and look at things from the bright side. But at the same time, like I said to you before, when you have a bad day, just go and groom your horse and enjoy what you really love doing. Martha, is there a special pack for cubs too? No, Linda, it doesn't matter if the horse is a cub or it's a warm blood or thoroughbred. It doesn't matter. What is the most important is the coarseness or the softness of the coat. So if you would like me to tell you what pack to use, the best thing to do is always to send me a photo of your horse or horses, and I'll tell you exactly what to use on your horse. It's very easy for me to tell now. I can look on a horse and I can tell you straight away what's wrong with it, what problems you have. When you've used the brushes, the same brushes for 24 years, and you know how they work inside out, it's quite easy. Okay guys, shall we do last 3 questions, if anybody has any? I'm not even aware of the time because I can't see the time. I don't have a watch, but I can see it's dark outside, so I must have been chatting you to boredom. What about washing legs in sweaty areas off each day after riding? You said not to wash. Okay, washing off, it's a bit different. So if you're not gonna pour whole holes on your horse and really just take all the oils out, it's different. So this is when it's really good to wash off with a warm cloth or a sponge. Hand cream, or you can use, again, boring Kotonska, use a brush. So this one, Lipizzaner brush, picks up all the sweat from your horse's coat. You don't need to wash your horse, and helps with the circulation. So that means you actually take out the sweat, and within 10 minutes after grooming with this brush, your horse's oil will come back to the coat. So this is really important as well. So, and this brush you just dry, and then next day use Caricom before you start using it to take out all the dirt from it, and here we go again. You can use the brush again on the dry coat. So you can Alan, for example, is a great believer in washing off horses. I think it depends on the level of work. If your horse has worked for an hour really hard, yes, it's great to cool them down with water and some lavender or peppermint wash, or just natural oils. You can buy them and just put into warm water. You don't even need to buy those specifics. You can just use natural oils. Again, go back to natural. And so really just wash it. It needs to be, you need to know your horse. If your horse worked really hard, yes, wash it off. If your horse just had a ride and it got sweaty because it's warm outside, wash it. Okay, good hand cream. Yes, I actually tested a really good hand cream. We had it at Olympia. It's from a company called Equilibrium. The lady who invented it is from America, but she lives in Poland. I met her in Poland. She has a Polish husband, and I really love the stuff. It's cruelty free and it's totally natural and vegan. So if you look on my website, we have body lotion, hand cream and face cream, and they are all very natural with no additives in it, but very moisturizing, especially for us being in water all the time. I lost my 2 nails. Any tips to give tail more volume, please? So the most important, again, boring me, grooming. So I forgot to add this brush, the brush from us, it doesn't pull the hair. So if you use the normal mane and tail brush that we use on horses, the ones that only clears the ends, it always pulls out the hair, even the stronger hair. This one doesn't. This one slides through the hair, cleans it that way. So this is very important as well if you want to add volume and moisturize it. If you see it's dry area, put lots of coconut oil or spray it like I showed you before with the sprays. So that's it. Any tips on applying summer fire cream? Yes. Summer fire cream, I use the Summer Freedom from Netex because it works on my super sensitive stallion because he's pink skinned. I put it around nose, around eyes, between his legs, and the rest I put flag spray. So this is what I do with my horses. You can also put it in between the ears. How do you deal with sun bleaching? What do you mean by this, Gina? Don't really understand the question. I use my hand. A lot of people use a sponge, but I'm a person that is quite touchy-feely. I need to know how much I've put, where there is more, if there is a greasy area, if I've put too much in some place and not enough. And you can't feel it with a sponge, so I always do it with my own hand. What brush is best for quarter marking? No, it was not asked. It's the Code Gloss from our packs, or from Alan Davis pack, the quarter marker. Alan Davis quarter marker. They are £16, and I've done a video. It's on our YouTube channel. I've done a video how to put quarter marks without any spray with this brush. So feel free to have a look, Nicola. Dark horse is getting pale in the sun. Okay, yeah. So this is really just going back to the natural oils. If your horse is groomed properly, it shouldn't get pale because it will have enough natural oils in their coat to protect them from the UV light. So again, if your horse, for example, like Maxine mentioned that she had a horse with a poor coat condition, you can give the coat a boost by applying double concentration oil for a week every day, and then use it once a week just to topping it up after a good groom. But really it's all down to grooming and feeding your horse right. So if you feel that your horse is bleaching a lot, I would cook them linseed seeds. Don't buy any linseed that is crushed and stuff like that. Normal seeds, put into hot water, 1 scoop. That's what I give my horses. 2 kettles of water, and that lasts for 3 feeds. And put it into their feed in the morning, so it's ready for the evening feed and the next morning. And just feed them inside out and groom them from outside. If they are fed properly and their nutritions are right and you groom them, there shouldn't be any problems with bleaching. Right guys, I think this is enough of me chatting. Yes, you can use the Diva brush on. It's a Diva brush from us. On this, you put the spray on it and then put into the coat. Yes, I use linseed all year round. If you PM me, I'll send you where I buy it. You can't buy it from me, but I'll tell you where I buy it because it's really hard to get it. I buy 20 kilogram bag for £20 and it lasts you 3 to 4 months. That's for 3 horses, so 1 bag will last you a year even, I suppose. So it's not expensive. And when you give horses cooked linseed, what happens, you will see when you cook it, it will create like a slimy thing on the top. I used to put that slimy thing into the manes and tails because we didn't have sprays. So this is also really good moisturizer for coats. If you cook the linseed, let it cool, and that slimy bit put into the manes and tails. So this is super good for the manes and tails and the coat, or like dry patches. But that thing, if you feed them, it is really going to line up their stomach, so it prevents ulcers. Secondly, it helps the feed to absorb into the stomach and their system. And thirdly, gives a really natural shine, and the oils are really produced much quicker in the coat. So highly recommend this. Thank you so much guys for everything. It was a great chatting to you. Lovely questions, really interesting, and I hope I didn't bore you to death. Have a nice evening and hope to speak to you and see you all soon. Take care. Bye bye.